Welcome everyone to another video. In today's video we're going to be doing a guide to British signalling. This will be going through all the signals, all the different types of signals, as well as trackside signs and other elements which make up the British signalling system. So without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off with modern day signalling. This one here is the green signal, which means the signal ahead is showing a proceed aspect. I have added a little graph to help you understand the way these signals work. You want to be looking at the top line, you can see the green signal, and after that is the double yellow, and that is what we will be moving on to next. This is the double yellow signal. This indicates that the signal ahead is showing a single yellow aspect, so you want to be proceeding with caution and expect there next to be a single yellow signal. Here's a little chart. You get the double yellow, then you get the single yellow, and that is what we will be moving on to next. This is the single yellow signal. This signal indicates that the next signal along the line will be a red, meaning you will have to stop. Once you've passed this signal, proceed with extreme caution and bring down your speed quite a bit. As the chart, you get the single yellow, then after the single yellow it goes to red, and that is what we are moving on to next. This is the red signal, indicating that you have to stop. This is usually due to a train being in front of you, or possibly if you're on the main line, a train will be overtaking you. You cannot pass this signal, otherwise you'll get a spad. There's the graph there, you get the red signal and then there is a train ahead. Just remember that not all lines will have 4-aspect signalling, and some lines will only have green, yellow and red, and not have any double yellow. So keep that in mind when you're on a different route. Now moving on to the route indicator signals. For this bit, just ignore the double yellow and be looking above the double yellow where the feather signal is, which contains 5 white dots. This is telling you that you'll be moving over to the left, probably over a junction, so then you can prepare to slow down for the speed which is on the junction. Seen here just outside of Lewes is another signal. This one has multiple feather signals on it. The one on the right for the Kima branch, the one on the left for platform 5 at Lewes, and the one in the middle for platform 4 at Lewes. Some signals will have a letter displayed next to them. This one specifically has the E, and this means we are going to be going on to the East Coastway. But also at Brighton you can get the ones which say W for West Coastway and M for Mainline. You also get this on Northern Transpennine where it says M for Manchester. Some signals on the other hand will have a number displayed above them. This number corresponds to a track or platform the train will be going on. This is usually found at busy sections or at main stations. Now moving on to banner repeater signals. This one here shows that the signal ahead out of Brighton Station is showing a red aspect. This is to help the driver know if the signal ahead is red or not, to prevent them from moving off pointlessly. This banner repeater signal indicates that the signal ahead is showing a proceed aspect, meaning the driver can pull out of the station without having to stop pointlessly at the end of the platform for the signal. Sometimes banner repeater signals are placed before sharp turns, so then if the signal is round the corner the driver will know beforehand which aspect it is displaying. Now moving on to the slightly more classic semaphore signals, which you can find in West Somerset Railway, Northern Transpennine and the Tees Valley Line. This signal here is showing a green aspect as it is in the downward position, meaning that the signal ahead is showing a proceed aspect and you can move forward ahead of the signal. This signal is equivalent to the yellow signals on modern day signals. This one here is in a caution position, meaning you should expect to stop at the next signal. If it is in the downward position, it means that the signal ahead of this one is showing a green aspect. Now moving on to the red semaphore signal. This is when it is in the horizontal position, meaning you must not pass it, otherwise you will get a signal passed at danger. Right, now moving on to the semaphore subsidiary signals. These signals are always associated with the main arm of the semaphore stop signal. As you can see, there are smaller signals below the main signals. These are usually used for shunting purposes. When both of the signals are at a horizontal position, it means you should obey the main signal and not proceed. But if the little signal is in the upward position, it means you can disobey the main signal and proceed with caution, but be aware there may be obstruction. Now moving on to route indicator semaphore signals. These are fairly simple. The one on the left is probably for track 1 and the one on the right is probably for track 2. So if one of them's down, that is what track you are going to be passaged onto. Now moving on to ground signals. This one here displays a proceed aspect, meaning you can pass the signal. These are usually found in yards, goods sidings and depots. This one pictured in Lovers Walk depot. This ground signal here displays a red aspect, meaning you cannot pass. It also has a little route indicator on it, which is showing it will be going towards the right, so you cannot go to the right as there is the red aspect. Some people may get confused as there's also another red aspect for a ground signal. Here it is here pictured on Northern Transpennine. These ones were the ones pre-1996 before they all got changed to the double red ground signal. Some ground signals in fact may not be on the ground. This one here is pictured on platform 8 at Brighton. This is saying I can go into Lovers Walk, that's what the L displays, and it is using a kind of ground/depot signal to say I can go past the red signal. This here is a semaphore shunting signal. This one right now displays a red aspect, but once it is in the downward position it will be displaying a green aspect. Sometimes they can be stacked on top of each other to correspond to different or multiple tracks. Not much else to say about this, so on to the next. Now moving on to speed boards. This one here is a permissible speed indicator. This shows the start of the speed limit. If the speed limit is lowering, you should be at the correct speed limit as the front of the train passes the speed board, and if you are speeding up you have to wait for the back of the train to pass the speed board before doing so. This speed only applies to trains going across the junction to the right hand side. You can see the little arrow there indicating that it's 40 miles per hour if you're crossing to the right. This is pictured at Sutherland Junction. Now moving on to a differential permissible speed indicator. This shows that a freight train can travel at 50 miles per hour and that a passenger train can travel at higher speeds of up to 70 miles per hour. Now moving on to warning indicators. This one shows that the speed limit ahead is 40 miles per hour. These speed boards don't actually enforce the speed limit here, they're just warning you of an approaching speed limit. Here pictured just outside of Lewes is two speedboards. The one for 10 miles per hour is for the east coast way down to Brighton, and the one on the right, which is 20 miles per hour, is for platforms 1 and 2 heading up the Kemah branch. I believe that on the Great Western Main Line some speedboards have HST above them. This means that only the HST can go up to that speed, and some have MU for multiple unit, meaning that the multiple unit can go at that speed. Now moving on to the more classic speed indicators. They have a black pole and yellow writing. You can find these on Tees Valley Line, Northern Transpennine and West Somerset Railway. These are much harder to spot than the modern day ones. This speed indicator here shows that the speed limit is now 20 miles per hour. They may be very similar to the modern day ones. This one here indicates that if you're going to the left across the junction, the speed limit is 15 miles per hour. Now moving on to the additional trackside signals and signs. This one is the flashing white signal. This indicates that the level crossing is safe to proceed over. This can be found near Dunster on the West Somerset Railway. This sign is actually something else to do with a level crossing. This one shows that the automatic barrier crossing is locally monitored. This is a combined speed and whistle board. These are found just before open level crossings. This board indicates that you need to sound the horn. This is usually as there is a foot crossing ahead or something similar to that. This is the more classic whistle board, which stands for sound whistle, or in other words, sound horn. This here is a coasting board. This advises that the driver may coast to a stopping point or significant speed reduction beyond the board. Now moving on to the safety systems in Train Sim World. These are the AWS, the automatic warning system, and the DSD driver safety device. Throughout you'll hear the AWS as we are chasing yellows, and towards the end you will hear the DSD as I did not press any of the controls for more than 2 minutes. I hope you enjoy. You are just about to hear the driver safety device, or the DSD. This is as I have not moved any of the controls for more than 2 minutes. This is to help you get used to the ground signals. This is a clip of me going into Lovers Walk Depot from Brighton. You'll see me pass the end signal, which does show a red, but obviously the ground signal shows 2 whites, which means I can proceed, and more. Hope you enjoy. Thank you everyone for watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and hopefully it helps you work out what the British signalling system is like. Sorry if it wasn't the best, but I tried to keep it, nice and simple for everyone to understand. Thanks for watching, and hope it helps. Thanks.